Henry Lewis, Jonathan Sayer, along with Henry Shields, created The Play That Goes Wrong in 2012. A decade later, the show is still bringing laughs to audiences in the West End, on Broadway, currently in Chicago, a UK tour, and on Broadway HD. It's such an honor to be chatting with both of you. I am such a huge fan.
Thanks for having us. It's lovely to be here.
So
well, lovely. I'm just here in my. Oh wow! Look at that.
I got my Play That Goes Wrong shirt. I've got my mug. I got my Peter Pan. I got my tickets from Play That Goes Wrong in London and the bank robbery show that I got to see as well too. So
wow, you're the person that bought all the merchandise.
I bought all the merchandise. Your new cars, your summer homes. You can thank me for all the merchandise and all the times I see the shows.
Well, thank you very much for coming to see all the different shows and for buying all the merchandise.
buying all the merchandise. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your recent trip to Chicago. You came from London, came do a quick little US tour. You were in Chicago to see the cast. What was that experience like to come see it here?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Chicago is such an amazing city. It was our first time there. So, we got to see Second City as well and just kind of explore the whole place. And then the show was incredible. Like the actors have done such a good job, particularly when rehearsal for them has been, quite difficult because it's still been, when they were rehearsing, there was still a few restrictions. So they've done such a good job and the audience were amazing. I love watching the show in America because I think American audiences are just they're so full of joy and there's so much laughter in an American house. So we just had the best time. The cast were amazing, the audience were good, and the theatre's really right for the show as well because it's quite intimate. So everyone's kind of really together, and it just really works out there.
I mean, especially, we were so excited that the tour was coming to Chicago, and it's been extended several times. Now it's going to be playing through the end of May. I mean, what is that feeling like to have something that, the both of you had created, to see it not just resonate in your hometown or to resonate in one city, but throughout the world? Henry, do you want to go ahead and take that one on?
Well, amazing. I mean, it's always kind of been quite humbling, I think, because the show started in an extremely sort of small way. We put it together in a pub theatre. Obviously, myself, John, and Henry Shields kind of wrote the script, and we were in it with the rest of the gang from Mischief over here, and we did all the jobs. We did all the jobs that needed to be done. We built the set, we did the marketing, we did the stage management. Everything was kind of done ourselves, and it was just just a really kind of our first sort of step really into sort of doing professional theatre. So for the show to kind of go on and grow in the way that it has, is amazing, and it's always amazing to see a new company's take on it. And we've seen it in various different places. With many, many different casts, which I just literally have come back from seeing the 8th West End cast. Their dress rehearsal was today. They start next week. But we've seen it in America with lots of companies. We've also seen it in other languages and other places. And it's always really, really special to see people come together and laugh at the show, wherever it is.
I've seen the show multiple times. And, one of my favorite is, Jonathan, when you have the words written on your hand, because obviously when you're doing, Shakespeare, you're doing a show and there might be a word that might trip you up or a word you might forget.
That's never been a personal kind of issue of mine. There's been one word in a Shakespeare that I can't say. I mean, to be honest, I've not been in a Shakespeare, so there'll probably be more than one word. But I think we've always liked the idea that Dennis just finds lines difficult. Dennis is my character in the show, and I think his journey to be an actor, he has the furthest to go. And we just like the idea that he can't really remember anything at all. So in Play That Goes Wrong, he has words written on his hand. In Peter Pan Goes Wrong, he has a huge headset feeding him every single line, meaning that he repeats anything he hears, whether it's from the script of Peter Pan or it's an argument backstage. And we've kind of played with that in different ways. We did Christmas Carol, and the words were kind of written all over the set. So it's a nice fun joke to kind of find new ways in which Dennis can kind of be fed his lines.
And you just mentioned those two series or those two specials, Peter Pan That Goes Wrong and Christmas Carol Goes Wrong, also on Broadway HD. So fans, who can't necessarily make it over to London can definitely check out those specials at home.
Totally.
I do want to say, I showed you all the merchandise that I had, in my house, and obviously I'm a big fan, and I can share, word of mouth with my social media followers and the people on our platforms and my family and friends who go overseas. But you did have a fan that had a little bit more money, a little bit more clout, by the name of J.J. Abrams. He was in London filming Star Wars and happened to come see the show. You're journey to America, changed after that. Talk a little bit about, meeting J.J. Abrams and having him there that very first night.
Well, he was lovely. Yeah, he had the evening off, I think, and he was sort of looking around the West End for a show to see, and he saw the play that was wrong, and yeah, we sort of knew he was in, and he said he was going to. The stage manager sort of said, "Would you like to say hi afterwards?" And we said, "Well, yeah, definitely." And John and I were big fans of Lost, particularly while we were at drama school. So we thought, well, absolutely, So we met him afterwards, and he was utterly charming and lovely about the show. And he sort of said, well, if you guys ever want any help kind of getting the show over to the States, then let me know. And I don't know, we sort of thought maybe, I don't know, he was being nice, and we sort of we weren't sure that anything would come of it, but he did end up putting us in touch with Kevin McCollum, who's kind of the lead producer over there. And that was kind of the beginning of our journey, and JJ was one of our producers on Broadway, and it was a couple of years, but we made it there, and so that was really amazing. And he's always been such a great supporter of the show.
He has really been involved as well, it's worth saying. So I think when he became a producer, we thought, well, that's nice, but that would kind of be, in title only. And, obviously he's very busy. But he came to the UK, and he was there for our kind of, when we were rehearsing ourselves back into the show, he came to the tech, and then he was there for a huge amount of the get-in and kind of setup time in New York, and was always coming in and out. In fact, there's the moment where the curtain goes up at the start of the second act, right? And all the actors are caught kind of fixing stuff. And there was one night where, if you went to see the show, J.J. Abrams was there as well, just at the back. And it was a brilliant moment, because you just heard someone go, "That's J.J." And then the curtain went back down and it came back up and he was gone. So he's brilliant. I've still never asked him anything about Lost, which I should do.
Well, that also shows just how much, as far as Lost and Star Trek and Star Wars, all the care that he puts into those movies and why they're so successful is the same care that he put into, the show.
Totally.
Is there, so the first time I saw it, I was, in London in the summer of 2015, and you had just won the Olivier Awards, and I was like, okay, this show, I want to go check it out. And ended up going there, and within the first 5 minutes, I had this grin on my face that did not leave for maybe 3 or 4 days. After seeing the show. Is there ever a moment where you've had the time to, either audiences as they're leaving, or as you guys are not performing anymore, but see the other cast and just see the people's faces as they're walking out of the show, and just seeing the joy that you bring to people?
Yeah, no, it's really special. I mean, we obviously we haven't been smiling for 8 years. That would be sort of dangerous, I suppose. But no. So obviously, when you do a show a lot, you kind of forget, I guess, almost in a way, the jokes, because you become so used to them. So it's always lovely to see the show with an audience, because you're reminded, of all the jokes. And no, of course, it's always amazing to sit in a crowd and hear people enjoying it, and hearing it for the first time as well. It's always really special. Yeah.
And as far as the Goes Wrong series, tell us a little bit about that, and what some of the episodes that people can enjoy on Broadway HD.
Yeah, so the Goes Wrong show is more kind of the same, but they're smaller. So they're 28-minute mini plays that the Conley gang put on, and there's loads of different versions. There's a Shakespeare one now. There's a kind of Downton Abbey-esque one there in the new series. There's also a kind of one that I really like that's in the first series, is a kind of, I suppose it's a kind of faux Tennessee Williams-esque drama called 90 Degrees. And the main joke is that it's 90 degrees in reference to the heat of kind of the Midwest. But the title has been confused as a direction of how to build the set. So the whole thing was filmed at a 90-degree angle. And I think that's one of the coolest things we've ever done. So you can check that out. And yeah, I really like that one.
As far as the Peter Pan That Goes Wrong, Daniel Pinto was one of the stars of the show there. He's now a popular singer here in the U.S., taking on a country angle as Orville Peck. What was it like to have him as part of that show?
Yeah, great. I remember him being really good. He was in the tour, right? And I think, I think he's obviously he's got quite a different career now. But no, he was great fun. I remember him being very funny in the role. Yeah.
And you got a big announcement for Edinburgh. I mean, that's one of the big festivals, especially, newer theaters or new troops that are coming out, and people get to see a whole bunch of things, and it takes over the city. And you guys are returning. Tell us of the big announcement.
Yeah, we're going back to the Fringe this year to celebrate the 75th Fringe. Can you pick it up from there?
Yeah, and it's our 7.5 Fringe. So there's kind of a nice symmetry there. And yeah, we're doing 3 different shows. We have 3 very exciting shows. So all at the Pleasance, the venue. And the first is called Charlie Russell Aims to Please. And that is a one-woman show featuring the amazing Charlie Russell trying to please the audience and do all the different kinds of one-woman show that there are to be done. So that's very funny. And we're then doing a spin-off show from Magic Goes Wrong called Mind Mangler, Member of the Tragic Circle, which is based on the characters John and myself play in Magic Goes Wrong. So the Mind Mangler and his stooge Mickey. And so that's going to be fun, and we're sort of about to start work on that very soon. That's a Pleasant Beyond, and then we also have Mischief Movie Night, which is a sort of a classic Mischief show, which we've been doing in one form or another for many years, even since before Play That Goes Wrong. And that's where we create, it's an improvised show, and we create a movie based on the audience's suggestions. They give us a genre, location, and title, and we make up all the rest. And that's going to be every day at 6:30 at the Pentland.
That's going to be, I mean, especially since the last couple of years haven't been their big festival and you're celebrating big anniversary. It's so wonderful that the group is back together to be joining.
It'll be amazing. It's such a special place for us and for so many companies. And it's brilliant that the Fringe is back on this year. It really is.
Henry, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today. Obviously, a big fan right here. Play That Goes Wrong. I got all the merch. You guys need to make more merch so I can buy it. I'm waiting, you know? the show is in Chicago through May 29th. BroadwayChicago.com is where you head and get those tickets. And also BroadwayHD, you can go ahead and enjoy the Goes Wrong series, Peter Pan That Goes Wrong, and Christmas Carol That Goes Wrong as well too. So thank you so much for your time today.
A pleasure. All the best.
Thank you. Really nice to see you.
You too. Cheers.